So recently on my channel, I shared a podcast where I was really talking about how the NAR settlement is going to change real estate brands forever. And I explained how and why. And I got a lot of really great feedback on that. So first of all, thank you for sharing your thoughts on what I had to discuss there. Now, what I want to do today is go a little bit into detail on one of the points that I made, which was that the client journey is going to be more important than ever. And I would venture to say that the real estate agents who really dial in the client journey are going to enjoy a much smoother transition into the new world of real estate than others. So if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and check out that video podcast. It was really great. Let's talk about tactics, like how we're actually going to implement that with the client journey. So I want you to think about your real estate business right now. Are you winging it with every client, or do you have a dedicated workflow for every part of the client journey? Here's what I mean by that. Let's say you get a new lead or a new referral. Are you kind of making it up on the fly when you're going to reach out to them and what you're going to say, and whether or not you're going to have a buyer consultation with them, whether or not you're going to send them maybe a welcome gift or a thank you card to the person who referred them, right? Going into the next year, that cannot happen anymore. Number one, that is last minute energy that we need to leave in 2024. It's very overwhelming to run your business that way. It's very inefficient, and it can cause you to drop a lot of balls that are totally unnecessary to let fall. So instead, what we want to do is we want to look at every portion of your client journey to create an amazing, personalized, bespoke experience for every single lead when they interact with your brand. Now, again, I went way into detail on that during that video podcast, but I am so into this idea. And over the last several months, Bryce and I have actually absolutely gone through and overturned every rock in our real estate business to look at every single interaction that our clients have with our real estate brand. We actually shared that in a podcast episode that dropped way before the NAR settlement came out. This was something that was already on our minds and something that we really wanted to do. So this is something that I'm actively working on, and I want to share a little bit about specifically how the first workflow in the client journey is going to look for me. And then with that, you can kind of take that and decide whether or not that's something that you want to try to implement in the next couple of months for your real estate business. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, this sounds kind of familiar, you got it. This is actually a workflow that is available for purchase in the no-fail follow-up guide. So all the details will be there below. So if you want to just take my exact workflow that we've been working so hard to build out, you can do that. The links are below to snag that with the no-fail follow-up guide. But this is going to be our client onboarding sequence. So what is a client onboarding sequence? These are the sequence of steps that we are going to take when we get a new lead. So once you get a new lead, you have to do a couple of things to make sure that you are going to follow up with them appropriately and provide them with the right resources to basically get their commitment. You're wanting to vet the client to see whether or not you're going to be a great fit to help support them with their real estate needs. And you also want to give them an opportunity to vet you right back. So the first step that I want you to pay attention to is how are you initially contacting a new client or a new prospect, I guess we should say, because they're not quite a client just yet. When you get that new lead or you get a referral, what does that first touch base really look like? Do you have a plan in place? Go ahead and write this down whether or not you do, yes or no. Once you have the lead, the first step obviously is to reach out and establish contact, regardless of the lead source. Now, this could be through a phone call, a text message, or even a Zoom call. Emails are also a part of this as well. What you want to do is establish a connection, understand their needs, and set up a meeting. Your first initial contact is to set a meeting. The reason for this is because overwhelmingly, clients will hire the first realtor that they meet. If you can get the first face-to-face with this prospect, you are already in a great position to get the commitment from that client, right? Now, what it looks like for me in my real estate business is I'm not just simply shooting over a text, sending an email. Oh no, I am giving them a branded experience from the moment they interact with my business. So one of my favorite tools to do this is by sending a beautiful welcome guide that is actually a template designed by Blueprint Brand Studio. A lot of times I'm asked, Stephanie, do you give welcome guides? Do you give these templates? Listen, I'm not a graphic designer. You don't want me designing this for your business. You want someone who understands how to do that. So years ago, I actually worked with Caroline at Blueprint Brand Studio, and we discussed how a welcome guide might look for a real estate business. This was really long ago, and now this is actually a template that she sells in her shop. And this is the exact welcome guide that I have been using in our business for a good 3, 4, maybe 5 years now. The first thing that we're doing, though, is sending this welcome guide, and it's going to accomplish a couple of things for us. It's going to share a little bit of an intro of myself and Bryce as real estate agents. It's going to give them a little bit of our history and our background and our values, our mission. And it's also going to make it really clear who we work the best with. I do not want my clients thinking that we are just loosey-goosey realtors ready to open the door for anyone or ready to stick a sign in the yard, wherever that yard might be. We are specialized real estate agents. We do work with a specific segment of clientele better than others. And there are plenty of types of real estate transactions that are well outside of our scope that we have no business getting involved in, right? And so we make that very clear to articulate who we are, who we serve, where we serve, right? And that way it makes it really easy for that prospect to instantly self-qualify. We want them to decide that we are the ones that they want to work with. I don't want to be the one trying to convince them of that, okay? And so we're giving them these resources to help make that really simple. The next thing that we are doing is walking them into a client consultation. So whether they are a current homeowner thinking about selling their home, but really not in a rush, or whether they're relocating and they need to list their home stat, or whether they are a buyer and looking to purchase a home sometime in the next 12 months, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, we are setting that client consultation. That's step 2. We have to qualify the client. And you do that through a consultation. You do that through a conversation. I can't tell you how painful it is to me when I'm talking to real estate agents who say, man, I don't want to spend, 30 minutes talking to every potential client. I want to get them in the car. I want to go show them houses. And I want to get them in a place so that everybody can achieve their goals. That's not going to be it anymore, my friend. NAR made sure of it. DOJ made sure of it. It's going to be a little bit different now, right? And what we have to do is be ready to really have a clear understanding of what those clients' needs are so that we can articulate whether or not we can help them with those needs so that we can get a signed commitment one way or another. Now, luckily, this is something that I've been doing in my business for years. If you have not been doing this in your business for a while, we can learn new skills. This is just the first step of it. You have to set that client consultation. After that consultation, your job is to instill next steps, right? So this might look like setting up a needs analysis. If this is a buyer, you're putting together a list of their must-haves, their wish list items, their deal breakers, and really putting together a plan for their potential home purchase. If they are a home seller, then in that case, same kind of thing. What are their deal breakers? What do they have to net? What do their financials need to look like on the sales side of the property? And how can you make sure to provide really great marketing services to help them meet those needs? In any case, you're setting the next steps. You're setting an action plan. You are not ever leaving that consultation with, okay, well, let me know when you're ready to look at homes. Instead, you're leaving that consultation with, here's our next steps. You got to take care of these things. I'm going to check in at the end of the next week and see how it's going. And then from there, we'll establish next steps. Always leaving off every interaction with the next point. With that action plan in place, next what you can do is actually do the realtor stuff, right? Now is when you get to show up and do what you do best. You get to show houses, you get to list the property, you get to write offers or receive offers if you're on the listing side. This is where you're providing an amazing client experience, but none of that happens without that client onboarding sequence. And so I want to ask you, what does your client onboarding sequence look like? I'm going to recap mine really quick so you've got it. I've got it here on my notes as well. We have our initial contact and really thinking hard about what that first impression looks like. Then we are making sure to qualify the lead with a client consultation. From there, if we're in agreement to move forward, we are providing their needs analysis or providing them with their action plan, giving them very clear next steps to show them that we are in their corner and confidently guiding them through the process. And then we get to do what we do best. We get to show up, show houses, list the home, do what we do to help them realize their real estate dreams and goals. Now, remember that every client is super unique. So this workflow is kind of high level. It's kind of generalized, but depending on your ideal clients, depending on your market, and depending on what the requirements are in your local associations or your state, you're going to want to fine tune this and run it through with your broker to make sure everything is all set in stone, all dialed in. But once you have this process in place, you are going to be blown away at how much more clearly you are able to navigate this process. Now, if you want to swipe my process with no fail follow-up and getting that client onboarding sequence dialed in, all the details to grab my no fail follow-up guide and that client onboarding sequence are below. But if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this is a little more intense and a little bit more necessary than I thought it was going to be for my business at this point, I think I need a little bit more help, I can totally help you with that too. This is what we are always working on in the Market Authority Academy to really help them get a handle on this so they can get in control of their business, get the commitments, and provide amazing service to their buyers and sellers. Now, if that is something that you're interested in, let's talk. I want you to go down to the show notes of this video and book a call with me and my team. That application call takes about 30 to 60 seconds to complete. Promise it's super quick. At that point, you will get on our calendars and we will love to talk about your business and have an understanding of where you are now and where you'd like to be. And I want you to know that if you're not where you want to be, even after having spent 10 years in the business or 15 years in the business, that is okay. I work with agents like you every single day, and I understand how that is a frustrating place to be in, but I also understand very clearly how to get you out of that place. So check out the Market Authority Academy if you want a little bit of that hand-holding. I would love to help show you the way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep on crushing it.